Is it just me, or when Axl sang in that Dave Grohl chair, did he look like a later era Christopher Reeves?
That's fucking funny. What's wrong with you?
He does, but it works for him, man. He's not all winded. He can sit there wearing that hat.
Yeah,
but he did. I'm like, holy fuck, did a horse throw him or what?
Yeah. I mean, that's a whole thing. You know, and that's actually on my list here. Let's talk about that for a minute. So, did you see the news this week that Brian Johnson met with the hearing guys, and they think they fixed his hearing?
Yeah, they can fix him.
So now what?
Now he's done.
I don't think he's done. I think he comes. They got to take him back.
I don't know.
Not for this tour.
No, not for this tour.
Not for this tour. They have to do the show. I mean, they've already refunded and everything else. They have to do. They will get sued like a motherfucker if they try to bring Brian out there to do these shows now that they've refunded and people have given up their tickets.
I think once Angus writes you, it used to be the Young Boys, but now it's just Angus. Once they write you off, you're fucking done. If you read.
You think?
Did you ever read that Mark Evans book?
Mm-mm.
That's a great read. You know, he was the bass player, and all of a sudden they just didn't like him, and he was fucking gone, man. You're fucking hooked. You're gone. I think once they decide,
I don't know, though. Brian is such a... Brian's pretty iconic.
Yeah.
Brian's not Mark Evans. I'm sorry, but Cliff Williams, Mark Evans, who cares? You know, Chris Slade, Phil Rudd, who cares? Brian Johnson?
Yeah.
Most people, when they think of AC/DC, don't only think of Angus.
No,
I know it's Angus's band, but they think of Brian.
Yeah. I feel that I think they fucking broke it and snapped him off and said, fuck you.
Now, I hope that you're wrong. I hope that you're wrong. Hey, look at who it is.
Hey.
Come on in, Wild Bill. Grab a chair. Come on in, man.
Let me just...
All right, grab a beer.
Grab me a beer too, Bill.
All right. The great Bill Peters wanders in. Look at that.
Just when we need beer.
Yeah. Let's turn that. Pull him a chair around. We'll make it all fit. I'll pull out of the way a little bit. Yeah. Throw whatever that cable is out of the way. All right. And we'll get to this. But no, and I want to hear Bill's comment on this, actually, because I know he has something to say about this topic. But we'll continue until he comes in. Dude, I personally can't imagine that they're going to continue on and not... I can't imagine that they can just have him saying, I'm ready to go, continue on, and not have him jump in.
But to be honest, how much more do they have in them? It's not like they're a band that tours. They take fucking breaks forever.
Yeah, they do. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Bill.
Grab a chair, sir. We're talking right about a topic you can speak on. We're talking... Turn that mic on the top. Somewhere on there. There you go. Did Indians win?
You can drink beer at this radio station?
Yeah, imagine that.
You can't do that at a real radio station.
Well, there's nothing real here. The great Bill Peters, of course, joining us. Bill, we are talking about AC/DC.
Okay.
And we're talking about how Brian today literally announced that he was he's fixed. He can hear. He's ready to get on stage.
He tried that new device, right?
Yeah, he tried the new device, and he said it's amazing.
Yeah.
So what we're trying to figure out, obviously they cannot go back now for this tour. They have to go with the Axl dates.
Yeah, they'll finish with Axl.
Well, they'll finish with Axl, but then what?
I don't know.
What do you think?
The band's not commenting. Axl wants to stay. I think he wants to do an album with them and do more touring next year.
Do you think that they would? Do you think that they would really do that with Brian available?
I don't think so.
See, I think they might do it, but not call it AC/DC. And I don't think if Axl's in the band, They have to call it. I think if it's Axl and Angus, that is a big enough name that it would still sell stadium level. I don't think they have to call it AC/DC.
And Axl sounds much better than, I was against the move.
Right, I know, I remember.
I go back to this. I saw AC/DC's very first show in Cleveland here,
right.
with 10 people. So I've been a long time fan.
Right.
And but I got to give him credit. He's stepped up, and he's delivering the goods.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't hate it nearly as much as I was like, oh, okay, that's pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought it was
I'm
good.
not a fan of Axl Rose at all, but
right.
Hey, the guy was under the microscope. He delivered.
Well, you have tickets. Are you going?
I still have 2 tickets.
Are you going to go?
Well, the reason I really wanted to go, I wanted to take my daughter, Lily, who's never seen AC/DC. The last time they came through, do you remember when that was, Chris? Were you there?
I wasn't there.
Okay.
I haven't seen them in a long time.
The last time they played
Ballbreaker?
Quicken Loans Arena. The last time here, I was in Germany or something, and I couldn't go. So now Lily doesn't want to go and see him with Axl Rose.
So if there's anybody looking for tickets, Bill's got them available.
I'll probably end up going. Maybe I can get her to go. I don't know. I don't think so though. She really wanted to see
the AC/DC.
Right. And she loves the Bon Scott era more than the Brian Johnson era, but Brian is part of.
Well, and that's what I was saying before, because he brought up about Mark Evans and how Mark Evans talked about once Angus decides you're out. And my answer was Mark Evans doesn't fucking matter. Nor does Cliff Williams, nor does Phil Rudd, nor does Chris Slade. Those guys are not what you think of when you think about AC/DC. You think about Angus and Brian now. That's what you think about.
Right.
And I don't think you only think about Angus. Some guys that are really old and really hardcore, the fucking Jim Barteks of the world, no Bon Scott, no AC/DC, man. I think those guys might, but I think the average fan, the average person that's like me, you, Rob here, we think of Brian.
Of course. How long has he been in the band?
40 years.
I tolerated Brian. I'm a diehard Bon Scott fan.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
But he was acceptable to me. I tolerated it.
Well, and let's be real. If we're going to be really, really honest about AC/DC, AC/DC was not a big band until Brian joined. They were not.
They were right on the cusp.
They were on the verge of breaking, Chris, but I think Bon's death kind of helped that.
It did help that, but they went from selling 1 million copies of a record to a diamond worth of records. And then they followed it up with, what's the one that followed up?
For Those About to Rock.
For Those About to Rock. Didn't that sell like 7 or 8 million records as well?
Right. That album was not as good.
It wasn't as good.
Back in Black is,
Yeah, it's iconic.
Right.
I'm a flick of the switch, man.
Me too.
Are you really? See,
Me too.
I never
yes.
liked that record.
Yeah.
Never liked that record.
Yes. I like the flick of the switch, and I like the fly on the wall, and I know you gotta hate that, Bill.
I don't hate it. It's just one of those records you file pretty quickly.
Sink the Pink!
It's a great record.
After that, though, they kind of lost me.
Downhill, yeah.
Yeah, the Razor's Edge, and
I like Mistress for Christmas.
That's okay. Yeah. I mean, there's songs on all those records. I mean, I don't like Blow Up My Video or Your Video or whatever, but there are like 2 or 3 songs on that one. This Means War, I think, is pretty decent, and well, that one. Ballbreaker, I can't name a song on. Stiff Upper Lip, I can't name a song on.
Was it you, Chris, that was telling me about a book that was written about the Young Brothers and their business practices? Was that you?
Uh-huh.
Have you read that book?
Yeah.
Okay, I've never read that book. I'd be interested in reading that book.
They talk about how, and that's what Rob was bringing up a piece of that, is how when they're done with you, they're done with you. And there's validity to that, but I just can't fathom that they could continue on with this guy out there saying he wants to do it. He's too big of a piece of AC/DC. In my eyes, he's way too big of a piece.
Yeah, I mean, is the band really going to reinvent themselves at this age?
And with Axl Rose, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
Axl, as good as Axl has sounded with AC/DC, and I agree with you, I've watched several of the shows, complete shows.
And you're
now.
an Axl Rose fan, correct?
I am definitely a Guns N' Roses guy.
Not me.
I love Guns, and I'll be honest. The shows that I've liked the best, Chinese Democracy era. Honest to God, the best show I've ever seen of Guns N' Roses was the Buckethead tour when they had the Beastie Boy guy rapping or whatever to open the show, which was shit. That was shit, but they came out and just blistered. It was great. And I saw him back in the day. I saw him open for Motley Crue in 87, I think it would have been.
Well, I saw him at Did you see the music hall show?
Yeah, I was there.
Zodiac, Mind Warp, and Udo.
Yeah,
I saw that.
I left after 2 Guns N' Roses song. I only went to see Udo.
See, I loved that show.
I didn't even know Udo was going to be there, and then we saw the Udo on the road cases back there, and we're like, "Fucking hey, Udo!"
Now, I'm first solo album tour.
I'm definitely a Guns fan, but that being said, I can't see them trying to reinvent themselves with him. They'll always be being compared to Guns N' Roses, and I can't see Angus's ego allowing that. Honestly, I can't see him being willing to, if, as an example, and this is a terrible example, but I'll just use it. If people started saying that Guns N' Roses sounds like or AC/DC sounds like The Firm because Chris Slade's in the band, they would fire him that fast. They would dump him and say, we're not going to be compared to The fucking Firm. Get out of here. We're going to get some other drummer. And I think it's the same thing with Axl. Axl is iconic, whether you like him or not. You can't argue that he's an iconic frontman. And they brought him in because in a pinch they knew he wouldn't crack.
Well, yeah, also, Chris, they wanted to sell tickets. I mean, tickets were already sold at very expensive prices.
Sure.
I can attest to that. As much as I would have loved to heard Mark Storace singing in the band, I think the general fan wouldn't even know who he is.
Well, that's it.
I'm paying $150 to see Mark who?
Yeah, who's this guy?
I would love it, but I'd love to see the original singer.
Yeah, other than what? Stayed Awake All Night. How many people know it? How many people can name 5 Crocus songs?
Right.
How many people would, if you said Heat Strokes, though? Yeah, Crocus. Yeah, not many.
So I think getting Axl,
he was big.
It was a business decision.
It was, and he was big, and admittedly, it was good. It worked out very well.
It did. And I will be the first to admit that I was totally against it. And wow, I saw that first video like everyone else.
Yeah.
And AC/DC hid nothing. They posted all these fan shot videos, their own videos. Yeah, they put them all up and said, "Here's our guy."
Do you think they would have though if he sucked?
Well, there's no way around not getting the word out.
This day and age, it's hard to pull it back off.
Yeah, I don't know. I worked for Dokken for a lot of years, and believe me when I tell you, Don has a team of people that fucking kill bad videos of him.
Chris, what I was impressed with, I don't know, I watched some of the videos from this tour so far.
Yeah.
I have not seen Axl reading lyrics.
No, he knows.
Time.
Well, he's a fan.
Yeah, but I mean, even on the newer songs, like the ones from the
Rocker
album.
Bust.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing a couple of those. I mean, he knows all the lyrics. I'm impressed with that.
I'm impressed with that, but he's doing better than I ever would because that album sucks a fucking bag of dicks.
Yeah.
Wow, is that album awful? Ugh, it's Rocker Bust. Terrible.
And they are pulling out some, ones they haven't played in a while.
Yeah. Oh, I'm in full support. I had my buddy Randy hit me up the other day, and I don't know if he thinks I'm broke or something, but he literally hits me up and he says, "I'll buy you a ticket if you'll go." And I stopped for a minute and I had to think about it, and I was like, no. You know what? I don't want to
you're not going?
I'm not going to go.
Oh, I thought you already had it.
No, I could go. I could buy your tickets. Honestly, but I could go. I know somebody that would give me tickets if I want to go, and I could make it work to get there. But if I'm not willing to spend it for Guns N' Roses, which I am a huge fan of, I'm sure not going to spend it for the novelty of seeing him with a band that I like but don't love. And I am not an AC/DC groupie type. I have all the records. I dig the records. But I don't. I've seen AC/DC, I think, 3 times. And honestly, 2 of the 3 were because I wanted to see the opener. And that's just the truth.